Karnataka's tryst with scams seems to be never ending. First, it was the MUDA and Valmiki scams targeting Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his family. Now it is the alleged COVID scam that may haunt the BJP. The Congress government had ordered the probe following allegations of corruption in the purchase of equipment and medicines. Siddaramaiah's cabinet today took up the probe report in the alleged scam. The Commission of Inquiry set up by the Congress in Karnataka, headed by retired High Court Judge John Dicuna, submitted an interim report to the Chief Minister last week. First up, a report by Radhika, and she has also spoken to the Minister there, H.K. Patil.
One of the most crucial things that was expected in the cabinet today was the COVID report. Is it seen as an eye for an eye because the MUDA scam has already been something that the Congress government is clouded with, and now you see this report that is being taken over, most of them seeming to suggest that this is a revenge politics of sorts?
It is unfortunate that whenever some important report comes, it is been termed like this, eye to eye. Where eye to eye? MUDA case you are referring. MUDA case is just 2 months, not even 2 months, less than 2 months old case. Whereas this Justice Kuna committee was appointed when? Almost a year back. How can you bring that analogy here? That's why it is only question of a fair looking at things, and it was an administrative measure. And there is no reason why anybody should think of this Justice Kuna committee in this fashion.
So you term this as an interim report. What are the preliminary findings of the report?
The preliminary findings, as I have understood from what Chief Minister has analyzed, hundreds and hundreds of crores misappropriation has taken place. Not only that, another serious thing is files are missing, government files are missing. How can this happen? Such very serious things are there which are found by Justice Kunal.
All eyes were definitely on this crucial cabinet meeting because we are talking of the COVID report that was submitted by Justice Kuna to the Chief Minister, which was presented and discussed at the cabinet meeting today. What we know is that the report consists of over 1,000 pages. We also know that several files were missing, and this has been a definite cause of concern. Sources suggest that there is misappropriation to the tune of over 1,000 crore rupees, and these are the preliminary findings is what we are told by Law and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Mr. H.K. Patil there. He has said that this report would actually be analysed by both the Chief Secretary as well as the Additional Chief Secretary, and once they finalise as well as analyse this report is when we would know further action that would be taken by the Congress government. They have denied all reports of this being an eye for an eye because we are talking of the Congress government that is already marred with the MUDA scam as well as the Valmiki scam. And we did question the minister as to whether this was an eye for an eye because the timing of the submission of this report and placing it before the cabinet is also something that has been heavily criticized by several others, claiming it to be a revenge politics of sorts that has been adopted by the Congress government. But in the meantime, all eyes are on the action that would be taken because once this preliminary report translates into a final report, because we are talking of a 6-month extension that has been given, there is a likelihood of this bill being tabled during the session as well, because the winter session will soon begin and that would be 5 months away. If the final report is submitted before that, then this could perhaps be tabled. As of now, no names that have been mentioned, at least on record. Nobody has suggested that there are any names in the report, but we'll have to yet figure out what would be the details that would emerge once the report is analysed by the task force that has already been set up.
Let me bring in my guest now. Professor Sandeep Shastri is National Coordinator of Lokniti. We have Sanjay Sahai, former ADGP of Karnataka, Mohan Vishwa representing the BJP, and Bhavya Narasimha Murthy is representing the Congress. Sandeep Shastri, coming to you, sir. It's almost like scam versus scam playing out in Karnataka. But here is a scam which is very, very disturbing in the sense that that was a low point in everyone's life, you know, once in a lifetime kind of medical emergency. And then COVID money being spent and corruption being reported in that certainly reflects that lack of political will as well and needs a more thorough investigation.
Maria, 3 points on what you said. I think what Karnataka is witnessing is what we would call competitive negativism. You see, I expose what was wrong with what you did, and you expose what was wrong with I did. Maria, your second point, yes, one of the tragedies of governance across the country has been that when people were looking at welfare, people were looking at support, when people required the administration for their well-being, those were times where arbitrariness was at its peak. And those were times when discretion was used in a very, very arbitrary manner. And this has been seen in several such COVID reports across the country. Third and last point I'd like to make, Maria, is what we have seen today is a interim report being discussed. I think the intent, content, and extent to which they will go forward in this. What is the intent of bringing it now? What is the content it has? And how long will you stretch it to be able to take action? Because again, we have seen in the past, Maria, several commissions of inquiry, several reports, which are then discussed and made use of, but in terms of results, in terms of implementation, very little finally happens. So there is that cynicism as to whether this is being used by all political actors for their own political benefit, and will at the end of the day any real benefit of the exposure actually happen.
Okay, so will it really lead to final action here, Bhavya, or is it just pure politics because your government is feeling the heat in MUDA scam and in Valmiki scam?
You know, to compare this with MUDA scam and say that, you know, this is an eye for an eye, we should actually look at the timeline. This happened around during COVID, as you said, a phase where the whole country was suffering, the whole world was suffering. Only a very inhuman politician can be involved in this. And as promised, during the COVID phase, as a voice of people, we were in opposition and we exposed this scam. As soon as we came to power, we set up an inquiry commission. Just because they are alleging something against the chief minister, that doesn't mean the government will stop working, right? This is a part and parcel of the governance. We have to accept the report. We have set up a commission. We have accepted the report, the interim report. Prima facie, around more than 1,000 crores. An anomaly in around more than 1,000 crores has been found. Of course, we need to take action accordingly. Right? Once the final report is submitted, we will definitely take action. Why would we not do that? Like, because, you know, unlike other scams of BJP during their time, whether it is 40% commission or PSI scam, you know, police sub-inspector, exam scam, paper leaks and all that, this is something, this is not just a loss to the state exchequer. There might be lives which have lost, which, you know, we have lost of our state because of this kind of anomalies that were found. Yes. So this is much, much more serious because
yes,
here
absolutely.
the lives
I
of
agree with you on that, Bhavya. It's not about how much money was spent illegally. It's about, you know, the fact that that drugs were, that amount was shown as drugs being bought, discrepancies at multiple levels. That is where the bigger problem here certainly is. Mon Vishwa, how will you really justify this move? Because when the Commission of Inquiry was set up, if it and it has come up with these findings, then heads must roll. Mr. Vishwa, if you can hear me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mohan.
Hello,
Yes, go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there was a network issue. Yeah. See, first of all, any scam for that matter, irrespective of done by anybody, we welcome investigation. In this COVID also, if the government is doing, let them do it. No issues. But the question is, I was hearing what Mr. H.K. Patil was saying. He said the MUDA scam happened just 2 months back, whereas COVID happened way back. Let me remind my Congress spokesperson and also H.K. Patil that there was a scam called Redo Scam under the governance of Mr. Siddaramaiah, where more than 12,000 crores worth of land got siphoned off by the Congress government during their 2013-2018. That report is called Kempanna Ayoga report. That report is already ready. Why they are not submitting that? Why they are not in the cabinet? Because people who are involved in the scam are Congressists. Here, the COVID scheme is still an interim report. Final report is yet to come. They're taking the interim report and they're going for investigation. No issues. Let them do it. At the same time, let them open the Kempanna report also, which has 12,000 score scam.
Your former
Second
health
one,
minister is
as far
under
as
the
MUDA is
scanner here,
concerned,
Mr. K.
there is a scam of
Sudhakar.
around 3,000 crores. The report is already been
questions being raised
submitted.
are far more serious because this is about inconsistencies in billing, in vaccination.
See, Maria, I have told you very categorically in my first response itself, whoever it may be, if at all, if there are some, issues, let it come out, let the investigation happen. We are not denying it. In fact, we welcome the investigation. Even our senior leaders, including the ex-Chief Minister, Mr. Bomoy, also welcome the investigation. What I am telling is, as far as Congress is concerned, one is the timing. They are taking the interim report now, whereas there is a report that is submitted 7 years back, alleging against Mr. Siddaramaiah having 12,000 crores of scam. Why that is not being opened up? Whereas MUDA also, there is a 3,000 score scam. Already report is there in front of Siddaramaiah's table 7 months back. Why it is not taken out? Whereas there is one more scam called Valmiki Development Board scam, where Mr. Siddaramaiah himself
scams are happening on one side, scams are
Sauda.
happening on this side. So basically, politicians in Karnataka are saying they are corrupt and so are we. So, this is a fair game in terms of investigation.
It's
one,
just the
one
BJP
government
is saying
is
that.
investigating the previous government and it is also facing allegations of corruption. So it's, as Professor Sandeep Shastri put it out rightly, it's competitive negativism. But Sanjay Sahai, as former ADGP of Karnataka, what is ailing the state then? If what is becoming evident of the political class? In power, they are all corrupt. In opposition, they are all corrupt. Unfortunate truth.
What is not corruption. So what has come to the surface might be it is just a tip of the iceberg. And fighting corruption since at least Anna Hazare days, it has been told it is the main crusade of every government. So the government which is in power, if it is going ahead with getting reports and they are in a position to facilitate a well-reasoned investigation leading to charge sheet and people getting caught, certainly the population is in favor of it. With regards to what happened in the COVID, I think nationally also, if you see, the second wave of COVID can be attributed to inefficiency and corruption all around the place, and not only limited to the COVID days. I think the way the whole infrastructure crumbled and we had to fall back on Sikh langars, even in the Indian capital, I think the less said the better. What is happening is that there is a prevalent system of corruption which is all around the place. And from before till today, governments have kept on changing, but the activities of the governments have not changed. And if you start from the election time itself, the affidavit which is given, I think there is a whole investigation done on all the affidavits submitted to the Election Commission of India since that whole system started. That will open a different Pandora's box altogether. What I would stick to at the current moment is that whichever is there on the table. Now there is a prosecution sanction order which has already been given, which means that prima facie things have gone to a different level. With regards to this COVID stuff, so here we are at the preliminary report stage. From preliminary report, we reach to the final report. Correct. After the final report comes, whether the prosecution sanction order comes or not, and in whichever way it is deemed to be taken forward. So that issue remains. It will still take a long time for things to unravel and things to take shape. There is no denying the fact that corruption has primarily become a political slugfest tool by which government changes, new government comes, and again it is shown the door primarily for the same reasons.
Yes, I do.
The
Will we ever get to the bottom of this corruption? If it is just about
we will
Slugfest,
get
then
to
it
the
will be
bottom-
about
we will get to
fixing
the bottom.
one leader or the other. But the real,
We will.
but will we know that who all were corrupt in the entire system?
See, we take breaking news as corruption news. So this happened, that happened. If you go across the country, you will find issues as every single office, every single process, and every single political party. Who is ready to call it out? Whether there is any investigative journalism also on that. So at the end of the day, given the state of affairs, and you see the Lokpal, how well we covered the Lokpal and what happened to the Lokpal, it has turned out to be a fiasco. Under the current circumstances and the nature in which the anti-corruption agencies operate, I think the political will never come.
Okay.
As it stands
so, but then
now.
in that case,
And
the
as in
counter
the case
argument
of-
can be,
Yeah.
can be, and that's a question to Mohan Vishwa, that the Siddaramaiah government is displaying political will in trying to ensure that there is no corruption, or trying to ensure that those who are corrupt or allegedly corrupt, then they are actually punished.
Maria, that is the care. What happened to 40% allegation? Where is the investigation? Who has been arrested? What happened to PSI case? Where is allegation? What happened to Bitcoin? I know that Sanjay Sai sir is sitting here. He knows better about that. What happened to the Bitcoin issue where they were alleging against us during our tenure? Okay, and Mr. Priyanka Gandhi Kharge, I still remember each day used to come out and use the paper cuttings and do press conference. What happened to those? If there was a political will, if there is a scam, they would have done it. At the same time, as I told you, let them submit a report called Kempanna Ayoga report, which has 12,000 crore scam, which has happened 7 years back under same Siddaramaiah's government. That report is ready. And also the MUDA is concerned, 7 months back itself, the report is sitting in front of Mr. Siddaramaiah. Why is not reporting it? And
Okay,
also
so why
the
are you
Valmiki
not
Development
releasing
Board,
it?
he himself
Bhavya?
accepted.
Why no action
It's
on
purely
that report?
unfunded.
You know, the insensitivity of BJP people is just so on display through the spokesperson here. Your corrupt, insensitive
No, you just
politicians,
answer
your
what I
BJP
asked.
leaders.
Just
Let me
answer what
finish.
I
You have
asked.
got your chance. Let
No,
me
no,
finish.
no,
Let
no.
me speak. Mohan, let me speak.
Mohan,
I
let me
asked you
finish
for
it.
question
Let
number
us-
one, answer for
Mohan,
question
Mohan,
number
You
one.
know,
You know, because the
lives
questions
Don't
are being
escape.
asked to the
during
Congress
COVID
government, the
because
Congress
of your
spokesperson has to make a point.
corruption
Go ahead,
can
go ahead,
never
Bhavya.
be brought back by your whataboutery. The lives lost because of your corrupt BJP politicians can never be
Don't
brought
do
back
investigation.
because of
Let
your
the corrupt come
whataboutery.
out. Let your
Instead
ministers, let your
of
MLAs also
what
come out. Who
inquiry
is
commission
stopping
we have
you?
set up, they have
Who is
already
stopping
shown
you?
anomalies in 1,000 crores. Okay? And we don't even know how many
Who is
lives have
stopping
been
you?
lost because of those.
Who is stopping you?
Second point, according to your PSI scam, yes, we have set up a special investigation team. Wait for the reports. When the reports are submitted, you want to say eye for an eye. When the reports are not submitted, we have set up a commission or a special investigation team. You don't want to accept it. How does this even work? Wait for it. One after another. You will be exposed. Your corrupt administration.
I am asking
will
for
be
7
exposed.
years back
Your
report, Mrs.
insensitive
Bhavya.
Administration during COVID will be exposed.
Okay.
As simple as that. Every report, whatever is due, will be accepted and everything will be inquired.
I can
It's
see
not
Sanjay
like we
Sahai
are keeping
smiling.
quiet.
What brings that smile on your face, sir?
So what the smile which comes to my face is primarily that you are allowing that slugfest to happen here as well. So I think it will be a long way by the time we reach a level where serious criminal investigation is taken off the table of creating
Yes,
political
I
capital.
agree. I mean, serious criminal investigation cannot be sanctioned by political, political leaders. So I have just
Don't
enough
create
time.
political capital out of corruption and
No,
criminal
I agree with you.
investigation.
Professor
Maria,
Sandeep Shastri,
Maria, just
so
1 minute if I
what
could
has
get.
happened here is that it's about, in that whataboutery, both sides have got an argument. Now both sides can say, what about your scam? My scam versus your scam.
Maria, do we need any greater proof of the fact that in the last 40 years, a government has not been able to return to power? Karnataka has had a sliding door policy for the last 4 decades. Now, this is because at the end of a 5-year term, a government is not able to justify to the people its achievements. And I think what you're seeing today of exposure of a previous government and all those developments are a reflection of that fact. I hope political parties see the message on the wall.
Okay, so let's see if they actually see the writing on the wall and do some course correction, and it should not be
I can see
about...
only the other fellow's wall.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us, Sanjay Sai, Professor Sandeep Shastri, Mohan Vishwa Bhavya. Thank you for
Thank you.
participating in this discussion.